Perfect. So,
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining our August 3rd regular meeting of the Harriet Tubman LSC. We will first start, we're calling the meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. And now we will start with roll call. When I call your name, please state your name and your role on the LSC. Emily,
Emily Holbert, teacher rep.
Eliana,
Ileana Inserni, parent rep.
Sarah,
Sarah Shelton, parent rep.
Lori,
Lori Viets, parent rep.
Sharice,
Sharice Brooks, paraprofessional.
Robert,
Robert Dagnew, community rep.
and I am Kimberly Gibson, principal of Harriet Tubman. Now we will approve the agenda. Yes, Eliana?
Since Cindy excused herself from the meeting, can we have any volunteer to serve as to take the minutes today? Because we need the minutes.
That's great. Can one of our LSC members volunteer by raising your hand to be the temporary secretary just for today's meeting? Sarah, thank you. Okay, Sarah will take our notes. Everyone received a copy of the agenda. There is a correction. Um, I would like to share that the nomination for vice chair was agreed to be voted on once we had a full council. So we will strike that from the agenda. Do I have a motion for that correction? Well, I'll motion for the agenda to be corrected to strike the nomination of the selection of vice chair. Do we have a second?
I second.
Motion carried. Now, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the correction made?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with that correction.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion carried. The agenda is now approved. Approval of minutes. Did everyone get a copy of the meeting minutes prior to this meeting to approve the July meeting minutes? Okay, if everyone hasn't received it, we can table that to the next meeting. At this current time, we'll vote to have a temporary chairperson until we nominate a permanent chair to take over. Or I can continue on because the next thing is nomination and selection of chairperson. So we'll move on to that, number 5. Is there a nomination for chair?
I'll nominate Ileana.
Is
I
there a
second.
second?
Sorry.
All
I
right.
second.
Is there any discussion? All
I
right.
agree.
Then we will take a vote when I call your name. Say aye.
I need for the purpose of the
Oh wait,
minutes. I'm sorry, I need to
Liana
accept.
to accept the accept the
I need-
nomination. Do you accept?
I accept.
Okay. Lori,
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Sharice,
I.
Robert,
Aye.
Eliana,
Aye.
and I also. Aye. Motion carried, and at this time, Eliana will continue on as chairperson.
First of all, thank you for the confidence. I promise to do my best. This is teamwork. We're in it together. So I'll ask for help when I need it, but know that this is all going to be straight from the heart. Not trying to be cheesy, but it is. Our next point is we already amended the agenda not to include the vice chair voting because, as we discussed in our previous meeting, we wanted our council to be complete to fill all the other vacancies. So we would then go to the nomination and selection of sergeant of arms, but that falls on this under the same premise about waiting until all of our council is complete.
It
However,
wasn't voted on, Ileana. It was
Excuse me?
tabled to, it wasn't, it was only voted on to wait for the council was complete for the vice chair.
for the vice chair, I know,
According to
but
the
since
meeting
it's, my next point was going to be, since if we didn't vote to table it or wait until the council is complete, is there any nomination for the sergeant of arms position?
I nominate Robert.
Hi,
I have
Robert.
to, hello. Um, I have to accept this, yes, per the last following thing. So I can accept that nomination, and I have a general understanding of that role, so I can be good here.
Sweet.
Anyone seconds the nomination?
I'll second it. Thanks, Robert.
Am I taking the responsibilities over from you? Is that, oh, no, I thought that was where the thanks was coming from. I got you.
No,
I'm
I'm just
following up.
happy that someone did it.
Ah.
That was our
Happy to help.
last community rep. So thank you very much. It's an
Ah.
important role and we really appreciate it.
Y'all are very welcome.
So now, having that motion second, we have to vote for Robert to be our new sergeant of arms. Emily,
Aye.
Principal Gibson,
Aye.
Miss Brooks,
I.
Sarah,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
and it's a yes for me too. So Robert, our community rep, is officially our sergeant of arms. Thank you, Robert, for joining us and accepting the position. Our next point is the principal report.
Did
Thank
we-
you.
okay,
I
I'm
wanna-
sorry, Ms. Gibson. Can we wait 1 sec? We were doing a lot of saying that we were going to vote to table things, but we never actually voted to change the agenda. Like we seconded it, but we never. I don't think we ever took the vote for the agenda corrections. Am I right?
For today, we voted for the vice chair to
But
amend.
the vice chair, but the minutes with the correction, was that done?
In the previous
Yes.
meeting, we discussed about all the other positions.
This
And it
time now,
was-
I just got a message that somebody thought that we did not actually, we motioned, but we did not vote to approve the agenda corrections. I just want to make sure we're all, we all,
Right now, you mean?
I just got a message about it. So are we cool?
Sarah, I think we just voted about that.
That's Lori's actually correct. So we did motion, but we need to vote.
Okay, so let's go
Okay.
back. Sorry. Thank you,
Thank
Laurie.
you,
And thank you, whoever texted you.
anonymous source who messaged me. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Okay, so we're gonna go back a second to vote on the amendment to the agenda to leave for another moment the voting on nomination and selection of the vice chair. Ms. Holbert,
Yes. Aye.
Principal Gibson,
Is the vote for the minutes to approve the minutes with the correction?
no, the vote is of changing the today's agenda to not include the vote of the
Yes.
vice chair.
Sorry, and my internet is shaky. Yes.
Okay. Sarah,
Aye.
Ms. Brooks,
I.
Lori,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
and yes for me too. So the motion passes unanimously. Forward now. Thank you, Lori, for this. So we go back to principal report.
Thank you. I'm just trying to let you guys know my internet is a little shaky if it goes in and out due to the raining right now. Our mission. Our mission is to provide a nurturing and rigorous learning environment. We will instill within our students a love of learning by identifying their positive distinctions through academics, the arts, and athletics. We empower students to be responsible, contributing members of an international community. Revisiting our vision. As a result, Tubman students strive to be lifelong learners who are persistent problem solvers, are inquisitive about the world, have a strong sense of self, and articulate their thoughts, feelings, and ideas through ongoing reflection. Tubman students strive to be empathetic by understanding different perspectives while being mindful of their unique viewpoint. Tubman students strive to be caring and principled and to possess a foundation of knowledge that enables them to build a more peaceful world. Principal competencies: champion, create, build, empower, pursue. Competency A: continuous improvement for staff and students. This summer, I attended the Summer ILT Institute along with our ILT team, hosted by the district. I also attended Summer Leadership Institute for Administrators. It was a week-long event. I opted in for OSEL Better Together School Initiative for whole staff. I also opted in for new teacher mentorship program at Tubman, where every new teacher will have a mentor, whether at Tubman or sponsored by the district. This summer, we identified 3 staff members to register for Wilson Multisensory Training to support our literacy, and planning a week 0 professional development for staff with staff and administrators as facilitating the meeting. Competency B: powerful professional learning. Again, the Summer ILT Institute. I also am a member of Grading for Equity Masterclass series, which is sponsored by the district and the fund. We identified 3 staff members to register for Wilson Multisensory Training and planning for week 0 professional development with staff, for the staff and administrators facilitating this. Competency C: college and career readiness. As a new administrator going into my 2nd year, the network has supported me by assigning me a diversity, equity, and inclusion coach. With that coach, they will be working along with the entire administration team, and we have developed a one-pager for our 2nd step implementation, which is a school-wide implementation. We are also consulting with Anti-Defamation League to provide equity-focused professional development for students and staff this upcoming school year. Competency D: families and community. IB Bulldog Summer Blast, July 22nd, 2022. We are having an FOT sponsored back to school picnic scheduled for August 13th. Summer outreach to priority students to increase student engagement. We have participated in phone calls. The district identified 27 students as our priority students. These are students who either were absent or had chronic tardiness over the school year, and we are supporting them having and being ready to learn the first day of school. And we have planned monthly principal conversations to resume beginning September 2nd, 2022. Competency E: self-discipline and action. Grading for Equity Masterclass Series. I was also selected by the district to participate with other administrators and adaptive leadership workshops throughout the upcoming year. IB report. Currently, our wonderful IB coordinators are on summer vacation, but we wanted to give you a small update. Our PYP coordinator for the next school year will be Ms. Frida Perillas, and our MYP coordinator will be Ms. Jennifer Vincent. Our district will provide IB training for staff that is scheduled for August 17th and 18th. We have 8 new teachers, 5 PYP teachers, and 3 MYP teachers. Current enrollment as of August 1st, 2022. That should be August 2nd. Sorry about that. This is our current pre-K. We have 19 students, 1 classroom. For K, we have 18 with 2 classrooms. For first grade, we have 33 enrolled with 2 homerooms. Second has 31 with 2 homerooms. Third has 42 with 2 homerooms. Fourth grade has 28 students currently enrolled with 1 homeroom. Fifth grade has 28 students with 1 homeroom. Sixth grade has 42 students with 2 homerooms. Seventh grade has 29 students with 2 homerooms. And eighth grade has 43 students with 2 homerooms. The total number of students currently enrolled who came in and are completely registered for the new school year is 313. We are expecting this number to continue to fluctuate as students are coming in and enrolling, and we are having some to transfer out. We will give another update at the September meeting. 2022-23 funding source. We have discretionary funding sources through our student-based budgeting, state aid, and Title II aid. Our friends of Tubman and Cubs Charity. Centrally funded positions are positions funded by the district, which are our diverse learner teachers and paraprofessionals, early childhood teacher and paraprofessional, magnet cluster, international baccalaureate, bilingual, critical language, our security, our lunchroom, our counselor, and our clerk. 2022-23 full budget plan. Budget highlights. Discretionary funds, we have funding for extended school day staff planning, funding for substitutes, and our new partnership with Right at School for lunch and recess, as well as our after school program for students in pre-K through 8th. We have Cubs Charity who donated $25K that will be added to our internal accounts. Centrally funded positions funded by the district is this year we'll have an addition of an interventionist, a 0.5 case manager, and 0.5 MYP coordinator. Friends of Tubman. Our funds in our Friends of Tubman helps fund staff professional development. It will help fund our 0.5 bilingual position this year, as well as our restorative justice coordinator, which is in our CIWP. 115 student-based budgeting, also known as SBB, and non-payroll and internal accounts. Currently in our 115 student-based budget and non-payroll, we have $68,685.76. In our internal accounts, as of 7/30/2022, we have $213,244.52. Staff vacancy update. All 8 teacher vacancies for school year 23 have been filled. Our restorative justice coordinator offer was made to one of the 2 finalists you heard about in our July meeting. One of our substitute seekers was hired to fill a vacant seeker position. We have hired our office assistant / miscellaneous employee. And current open positions we have of this week include 2 seeker positions that we are currently in the process of hiring for. We anticipate that all positions will be filled by the start of the SY23 school year. We would like to give a huge thank you to everyone who participated as part of our hiring team this summer, including various wonderful staff members, LSC members, and community members. Instruction. We have adopted a new math curriculum and vision math curriculum for K through 8th. We will have a school-wide SEL curriculum second step for pre-K through 8th. And we will also have support with Wilson Multisensory Training. Professional development plans for school year 2022-23. In June, staff received the equity framework for teaching training, and they opted in to participate in Healing Circle provided by the Office of Equity. We have plans to meet with the Office of Equity for a continued partnership and support for Tubman, scheduled for this Friday, August 5th. 3 staff members registered for the Wilson Multisensory Training provided by the district over the summer, and the district will also be funding the kits. Planning for week 0, professional development, planning with various staff and administrators facilitating, and this will include team building. Administrators have a diversity, equity, and inclusion coach provided by the network for school year 23. We are planning a new teacher orientation with support from the mentor principal. We opted in for the new teacher mentorship program sponsored by the district. We opted in for whole staff participating in Better Together Initiative School offered by the Office of Social and Emotional Learning. And we requested Facing History to partner with Tubman again to offer ongoing professional development to staff during staff development days as well as grade level team meetings. What's to come? Developing instructional schedules that maximize both SEL and content area needs, prioritizing critical on grade level standards, and revising our IB units scopes accordingly, including our new Envision math units. Review our CIWP priorities with the community and create a timeline. Ongoing differentiated staff professional development, intervention and enrichment programs, and ongoing communication and partnerships with families. Local school council. Are there any questions?
Lori.
Too many buttons to press. That's exciting about positions being filled. So 8 people were hired, and we know we lost 2 classrooms. So that means 2 homeroom teachers would be gone. But I feel like we had more than 10 staff members leaving. Are there just other positions that we are not filling? So while what you planned on hiring is filled, were there other positions that are not being replaced for people who either quit or retired or whatever reason?
No, those positions have been filled. So we have 8 teacher positions. And because we don't have 2 of those classrooms, we don't have 2 teachers for 2 of those classrooms. We would have had teachers who would have gotten cut. But because of that, we don't have 2 teachers to teach that classroom. And for the one
we only
retirement,
had 10 staff members leave? I thought we had
I'm
more
sorry?
than 10 staff members. I'm sorry. I thought we had more than 10 staff members leave.
we
Was
had
it only
11. So that makes 10. And then one of our sub seekers moved into a retirement position that makes 11.
Okay.
Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Eliana. I had a question also about the staff hiring. So I was very happy to see that all positions have been filled that we needed to fill. I know there's still those 2 SECAs, but all classroom positions have been filled. So I was very happy to hear that. I had a question about the protocol that was followed. I know back in June, a parent member who was on some of the interviews had some concerns, had let the LSC know they had some concerns about consistency in following the protocol for hiring. So I was wondering, Principal Gibson, if you could talk about the round 3. How did that work in the summer? Round 3 was where the candidates would either teach a lesson or submit a video lesson, or if for DL purposes, they would write a section of a draft
IEP. How did that work? Because obviously they couldn't teach because it was the middle of the summer. Could you expand on that? Thank you.
Sure. Following the hiring protocol, it says if requested by the hiring team, that part of the round three. And on the hiring team, there was only one request for a teacher lesson, and the teacher submitted the lesson.
Miss Holbert?
I was under the impression that there was going to be like consistency across candidates then. So, sorry, I'm off mute. It sounds like only one of the final candidates submitted a lesson. So for the others, that wasn't the case.
So again, on the hiring protocol, it says as requested by the hiring team. So depending on what members, depending on where the person was, depending on the interview, those are all things that factored in.
Okay. So for some candidates that we've hired, we never saw a lesson or an IEP sample or them teach, just to be clear.
So depending on the request from the hiring team.
Okay.
I think I'm next. So
Laura.
my question is, who was on the hiring team? Because I know in meetings, like at one point you mentioned like some of the people from diverse learners. I would like to specifically hear who were on the hiring teams, because so far I don't see if Mr. Hall or Ms. Hulbert, who are our teacher reps. I'm curious who was on the hiring team from Tubman, because it's concerning to me that we're not hearing who was on them and that we don't have, and you're saying, well, they didn't ask for it. I want to know who didn't ask for any examples of their teaching style, lesson plans, or things like that. I'm really curious to hear details of what that hiring process actually was.
So I'm just making aware, I'm making some notes. I think this LSC council, everyone might not have a copy of the hiring protocol. So I will send that out. But there were various members that are on this call that participated on the hiring team. There were also members of the community who participated on the hiring team.
I get that. I want to hear specifically who were the names on the hiring committee. Thank you.
We have various hiring committees, so I can address that with the council and share the names at a later time for the sake of the meeting. But it depends on who was being interviewed and what the position was for the staff members that were invited and the community members who were invited to participate.
Mr. Hall?
Thank you, Principal Gibson. That would be very helpful if you could share that with the council. I think what we're all trying to get at here is there was a concern from a community member who was on a hiring committee about consistency. And I think all these questions are just trying to get to, was the hiring process consistent for all? And I'm not sure in this moment we're getting the answers I think we're looking for. So I think having those additional items afterwards sent to the LSC members would be really helpful to kind of take a look at that. Thank you.
Sure, Sarah, can you write that down as an action step for at the end, please? Thank you.
And can we make sure to then when the LSC gets that information, can we please share that with the community, like the people who are, I'm sure that there are community members on the call who would also like to know that information. So we will make sure to share that in different ways from the LSC so the community and all the concerned people will know who was on those teams. It's great that we filled positions. I just want to make sure that they were filled to the best of our ability.
Robert?
Sorry, I felt like you were about to move on, and I stopped that. Thank you for all these really details. Let me know if I'm off base on any of these questions. One of the enrollment, I hear you on the enrollment growing, and it's not shocking to me that the kindergarten enrollment is per days. I know that sort of historically lags a little bit and then comes up. The question that I was interested in is, what was the projected enrollment for Tubman. And again, if you want to send that after the fact, that would be interesting. But what I want to get at is like, where are we now relative to what the overall enrollment projection is, given sort of the tie to financial resources and what that potential impact is. So if you know it now, great. If you've got that later, I would love to see sort of what that projection was, to understand how our enrollment is tracking. So I'll pause. That's one question. Principal Gibson, if you want to take a look at that, I've got a second one as well.
So, Robert, I will get back to you with a response for that question.
Great. And then the other thing that I'm interested in, you mentioned, I believe earlier, that there was 27 identified student families. Those sort of priority families to reach out. Again, love that you're doing outreach. The thing that I'm interested in is sort of what have been the outcomes of those calls. So out of the 27 families that have been sort of on that priority list, how many have we been able to get a hold of? How many have we not been able to get a hold of? What have been the outcomes of those sorts of calls? Again, would love that. In the future, it doesn't have to be a response now, but just to see, these are the steps we're taking. These are the outcomes that we've had with the calls. And this is what we're doing to support those families in the upcoming school year.
So, Robert, various members made the calls. I can't share how many calls were reached, how many people were reached, how many people were not reached. We had support from our network with that.
Sarah?
Hi, hi, Principal Gibson. Thank you for putting all this together. Can you talk to us a little bit more about the staff engagement with regard to the three staff members that were selected to attend the Wilson training? Can you tell us a little bit more about what that's going to look like?
Yes, the district asked us at the end of the school year, do we have any staff member interested? So this is optional training for Wilson multisensory training. With our school, the district opted to cover the cost of the training for the staff member who volunteered to go to the training. One was our interventionist, and two were diverse learner teachers at our school. And they just completed the training at the end of July.
Thank you. And is the long-term plan to roll Wilson out at all grade levels, to implement at all grade levels?
So we currently don't have a long-term plan. We do have a short-term plan to roll it out with the three teachers who are certified. And as part of the partnership with the district paying for it, there are requirements that these teachers have to fill throughout the school year. We are hoping to get additional teachers trained.
And at what grade level would that begin? Do you know?
It's tentative now because we are still working on our org chart.
Thank you.
You should have more information at the September meeting.
Principal Gibson, in the homeroom amount, in the chart you presented about how many homerooms there's going to be for each grade, I wanted to know if there has been an update, or is there any possibility regarding that fourth grade class moving up to fifth grade, that is a very particular class. And the parents have been working a lot. So I've been asked by parents if there has been any update on the possibility of having two homerooms for that incoming fifth grade class. I see in the chart that it's one, as of today, it's one homeroom, but is there any possibility that if more kids enroll, we had talked about in previous LSC meetings, that if certain circumstances occurred, it could be a possibility that the class could be split into two homerooms because, again, of the particular class it is. Has there been any update on that, or is this one homeroom like the final homeroom?
So, Eliana, is never the final thing because we're a community that works together, right? So I am aware that there was some fundraising. Currently, the way the district works, to answer the question about enrollment, if our numbers increase, that could change things. It can go up or down. Currently, right now, we are still slated for one homeroom. And I just want to share that the district waits to the 20th day enrollment to make another decision.
Another question I had about the eight positions filled and the two SICA positions that are pending. I know that they're in the second round, I believe, of interviews for those two SICA positions that are pending.
That's incorrect.
No?
One is in the second round. One position we were just made aware of
Okay.
within the last day due to a resignation.
Okay. So I believe there's not another question about the principal report. So
Well, I actually do have one more.
Okay,
I
Lori?
just, when we're getting more information about the hiring protocol, when we get the list of who were on the interviews, I just want to also confirm that those people were given the opportunity ahead of time for the hiring protocol. So I know the LSC received the hiring protocol, but I want to make sure that because actually, can we get a raise of hands of who on this call? She said that some of the LSC members, if you were on the hiring calls, who was actually from the LSC on any of the interviews? I know Ileana, you sat on how many? One, Ileana?
I was in two. I have been in two interviews.
Cool. I just want to make sure that I know I mean it sounds I just feel like this is a very important thing and it's something that we had asked for. So I would love to know who was on all those committees and were they given the protocols ahead of time? Like LSC members were given the protocols, but it seems like only one LSC member was actually on the interviews. And I want to make sure that they knew that they could ask for more information. I am receiving feedback that some people in those interviews didn't know that they could ask for more information, that they felt like they were there, but they were unclear about what their role would be. So if we could have that information for the September meeting, that would be really awesome. I just really want to make sure that we are following all the protocols that were promised. And if we could have those names. Also, while I'm asking for names, I would love to know who was trained in Wilson. I feel like we get a lot of information, which is 3 staff members or so-and-so. I would like to know who specifically received these trainings. And I don't know why that can't be shared. Thank you.
No one said it couldn't be shared. It was never asked, but just to share, the three staff members who registered for the Wilson Multisensory Training was Mariah Brown Rivera, Esther Velasquez, and Miss Julie Brickta. There are other LSC members who are here that participated in a hiring committee. Miss Brooks, other people were Rebecca. It's not that I don't want to give you names. It just depends which position because there were various people. But some of our hard team members were sitting in on almost every interview, whether it was Miss Perillis. So if you want a list of all of the people, I don't have that readily available. I can name some of them off of memory. If we were hiring for the 7th grade position, a 7th grade teacher was present. It just varies. But we can share that at the September meeting, or if I can share, I could share it before then.
Yeah, I echo Lori's request, and I think it would be like for the sake of like transparency and everything that we want to move forward like that. So I think we should all know, we know as an LSC the protocol because it was sent to us. Not everyone knows the protocol. Um, I don't think it's something that it doesn't do any damage if everyone knows the protocol. But it
The
would be
staff
very
all received the protocol, so that's an assumption. But that was there. It was shared with the staff prior to the LSC.
no. I'm not saying you see it as. I mean, it's my opinion. Like I feel it would be great if everyone knew the protocol, but it would be great that we knew like who was in what interview. So LSC members and parents and community feel very comfortable with the decisions that were made, which I'm sure were made and the benefit of the children. So, but we would like the information. So I echo Lori's request if you could please provide us that, Principal Gibson. Sarah.
Hi, I don't know if you called on me, you're muted.
Yeah.
Just for clarity, I think, Eliana, are you referring to the hiring protocol document that's titled Tubman Hiring Process as of 5/25/22? Is that the document that you and Principal Gibson are both referring to?
Yes, that's the one that was sent
Okay.
out as the hiring protocol. That's right, Ms.
Okay,
Gibson.
thank you.
Yeah. So if there's not any other question about the principal report, we move to our next point in the agenda, which would be fundraising. Uh, FOT promptly sent us the 3 fundraiser proposals for approval. Patty excused herself, but she sent Dana uh, to talk about the fundraisers if we needed any discussion about it. The 3 proposed fundraisers are the Dining Nights Out, the Popcorn Fridays, and the Spiritware Tubman Swag initiative, selling of the spiritware. I don't know if Dana, you want to talk about the 3 proposed fundraisers?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I think the dining nights is pretty straightforward and everybody is pretty familiar with them. And this is how we usually get them approved. And then I think spiritware is also pretty straightforward. So, happy to answer any questions on it, but I think it's going to look a lot like last year as well. And then popcorn. Popcorn, as you guys all know, was a very popular thing for a while, and darn that COVID kept popcorn out of the school for a bit. But we're hoping to bring it back with really strict safety protocols around it. And so, as you can see on the proposal, we are hoping to begin to build a travel fund for the travel program that it's being restarted this year, which is very, very exciting. And Ms. Vincent, who's going to be our MYP coordinator, can talk a little bit more to that when she's back. But she's going to head up the travel program. And so we're hoping a couple 8th grade parents are hoping to meet with Ms. Vincent and admin to kind of hash out the details of that fund and how it would be distributed based on the needs. So those details haven't been worked out just yet, but we'd like to start to build that fund. And of course, it would become a legacy fund. So, it would be something that would work toward the travel program for all the students as they age up in the future. So, and any questions I can try to answer.
Mr. Hall?
I was just going to add on to what Dana said that for our newer members, so I know like Ileana and Sarah, you won't have experienced popcorn at Tubman. But it was, yes, we've done it for years. None of these fundraisers are new. It's things we've done year after year. And Dana, I was glad to hear you talk about my question was going to be about the fund for the middle school trip. Like, how is that going to work? Because I feel like in the past we have had like funds for field trips, funds for, to help students in need. And then there's always kind of this vagueness of, okay, well, if I'm a family who needs help, how do I ask for it? So as long as there's a clear protocol, I think that's a wonderful idea. And I was just looking back at our old accounts. I know like for the year prior to COVID, I think we made about 3,000 in popcorn that year. So that's kind of like the ballpark of what we usually make per year by selling popcorn every week to the students.
Yeah, our popcorn mastress, Kim Beck, is working out all the math for us, and she's always been amazing about the supplies needed for it and trying to work out the best deals and getting them. And everybody can probably imagine, with inflation and just supply chain stuff. We're working on those details, but wanted to present it today so we could hopefully get it up and running and started early in the school year. And yes, I apologize. I'm always forgetting where COVID landed on the calendar. And so yes, Popcorn Fridays were like super fun. Volunteers would help pop the popcorn and then deliver it to the classrooms. Kim awesomely came up with a subscription plan, so you can sign up for your popcorns in advance, so you don't have to worry that your kid comes home and says, "I forgot $1," and so, or $2 or whatever it'll be this year. But anyway, it's a really fun thing, and they love getting their popcorn on Fridays. So.
Sarah?
Hey, Dana, thanks for presenting. Can you talk a little bit more about the travel program that this will fund for those of us who are newer and unfamiliar with the program for the older kids? Thanks.
Yes, and I apologize. Patty and Allie are definitely going to be much more knowledgeable about the prior trips because their older kids have been on them, but I have one signed up right now. So to my knowledge, essentially our students in 7th and 8th grade used to always do a spring trip. In the past, I think, and Mr. Hall, totally correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 8th graders went to Washington, D.C., 7th graders went to Springfield, or they swapped. It was something like every other year or something like that.
I know DC was every other year,
Yes.
and DC included both 7th and 8th,
Yes,
I
that's what
believe,
it was.
and it was on a 2-year basis. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Springfield has been done, but with less like fidelity. Yeah.
Right. And it's a pretty and other schools also do these same things, Sarah. And so Miss Vincent was the travel coordinator at her previous school for many years. And so she helped organize these trips for the middle schoolers. So for this coming school year, I believe it's the 7th and 8th grade. I think the plan was to start there and maybe build it out as the years go. But the 8th graders will be going to Boston for 3 days. I think it's 2 nights, 3 days in May. And then the 7th graders are going to Springfield, St. Louis, and somewhere, I think it's like a 3-city trip. But again, Miss Vincent would have the utmost information on that. And so the idea behind the fundraiser is that, as you can imagine, the trips are expensive and the costs can be a lot for families. And so we wanted to create a couple fundraisers throughout the year where the money would go into like the travel program fund. Like Mr. Hall was saying, there used to be kind of like funds for this. We used to have one for field trips, where if like students couldn't afford field trips, we could pull money from that fund. I don't know that particular fund, if that's still, I don't think that like we've been managing that currently. And so this would kind of be similar. Again, we haven't spoken yet with admin, and we've kind of just talked with Miss Vincent, and she has some great ideas. But popcorn was one of them because, as Mr. Hall noted, it was a very consistent fundraiser in terms of how much it raised. And so again, we'd like to hash out the details around identifying the needs and how we can fulfill the needs, using that fund to help the kids in 7th and 8th grade be able to go on the trips. And then again, that would, whatever we start to put into place now, we're hoping that it will remain in place so that every grade that comes after us would continue to be able to work the same program. Does that help?
Thanks, Nina. Yeah,
Okay.
that was really helpful. Thanks, Nina.
Thank you, Dana. That was very helpful. For the purpose of clarity for the minutes and that for the record, I would want to propose that we vote for not in block, so each fundraiser. So I motion to vote for the first fundraiser, which in order of how they were submitted would be the dining nights out, which are prompted to be monthly throughout the school year. So I motion to approve.
I second the motion. This is Nick.
You got that, Sarah? Okay, so now we Vote. Lori,
Aye.
Principal Gibson,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Mr. Hall,
Aye.
Ms. Brooks,
Aye.
Sarah. Oh, I think we lost her. Oh, there she is. Sarah, your vote.
Aye.
Ms. Hulbert,
Aye.
and yes for me too. So the dining nights out are approved. Fundraiser, then we'll move to the Spirit Wear Tubman Swag. I'll motion to approve that fundraiser.
I second.
Now we vote. Principal Gibson,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Mr. Hall,
Aye.
Ms. Brooks,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Ms. Hulbert.
Aye.
And yes for me too. So the Tubman Spirit Wear fundraiser is approved. And the last one would be the Popcorn Fridays, which would be weekly throughout the school year. I motion to approve that fundraiser.
I second.
Now we vote. Robert,
Aye.
Principal Gibson,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Mr. Hall,
Aye.
Ms. Brooks,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Ms. Hulbert,
Aye.
and yes for me too. So all three fundraisers proposed by Friends of are approved by the LSC. Thank you, Dana. Our next point in the agenda would be the discussion of the process of filling the vacancies we currently have on the LSC. You should have all received with the agenda. Principal Gibson sent a proposed timeline for the filling of those vacancies. Principal Gibson, could you please explain or tell us your timeline so we could open it up for discussion and we vote?
Sure. Are we talking about just the proposed timeline? We also sent advertisement, if you guys are okay with that as well.
Yeah, I would like to
But
discuss the timeline first. So
Okay,
then we
no
discuss
problem.
yeah.
Okay, the proposed timeline is September 16th. The application will open. It would close the deadline by October 7th, which would give us time to review the candidates. And then all candidates could be invited to the October 12th meeting where we will have a candidate forum. And then tentatively date, depending on how many people and applicants we have, we could vote on new members at the October 12th meeting.
Okay, after reviewing the proposed timeline, I have a concern in terms of it being too far out, like when we complete the council, it being like past October. There is no required timeline for filling these vacancies. I was looking all over the LSC bylaws and everything, and I emailed Ms. Ford to confirm if we had to like wait certain times, and she she replied that we didn't have to follow like a specific timeline to fill the vacancies. Given that we already have the advertisement that we're going to discuss after this, which I propose would be posted as soon as tomorrow, I would also like for us to discuss the possibility of moving that timeline a little bit closer. Like if we present the advertisement and announce that these positions are going to be open, say tomorrow, which would be the ideal. I think we could move those dates up so our council would be complete before October, because I feel that that's too far out with all that we want to do, all we are going to discuss at the beginning of the school year. So I don't know if anyone else wants to chime in on this. Robert?
You shared what my feedback would have been about this. Like, would love to get would love to move this forward, right? Like, I think the cadence of those steps makes a bunch of sense of like this other thing, but in terms of, you know, could we begin at some point in August just so that our end date is a little bit earlier than what's listed here? And I don't know if there's some constraints that I may or may not be aware of that sort of limit the ability to get that going, but that would be my pitch, just so that we could have a full council a little bit earlier, if at all possible.
Mr. Hall?
I echo both yours and Robert's sentiments, or whatever the word is. Yeah, same thing. I'm concerned. I think we need to fill positions sooner. We are only a council of 9, which means if more than 2 of us are absent or late, we don't have quorum. I know I was late tonight and Cindy couldn't make it, and I was concerned, like, okay, like if one more person is not there, we don't have quorum, which is we hate to do and then have to wait around. So I think let's get those positions filled. I also want to just clarify, we don't have to fill every single one. As you said, there's no mandate to fill them. Obviously, we want them to be filled, but you know, if in September we look at the candidates and we don't feel like we have, you know, 4 candidates that we think are the best, we are under no obligation to fill it in that month. But I think the sooner the better.
Principal Gibson?
Yes, I'm very flexible of us opening the application sooner. That's just what I saw schools around us doing. I actually got this from another school, what they were doing. I think we can open up the application maybe after Labor Day, because that would give us time to also talk to students. I'm saying we can post it as early as tomorrow, but I'm saying to start accepting application, that gives us time to get a week or two to get the school year started. That's our priority, making sure kids are here, they're safe, and giving people time to come in and start doing their applications. But I think it's important for us to think about what Mr. Hall just said, is not trying to fill the positions fast, but with quality people. So we have to keep that in the timeline. We have to wait and see the applicants. Last year, we waited for a community rep. I'm gonna give an example. We had it open and it was open for like 45 days, you know, but it's important to have a candidate forum so we get to know the candidates and people can come and attend an LSC meeting, see how it's run, and share why they want to be a member. I think that's an important part. So even if we opened it September 5th, I'm just throwing a date out there. We could change the opening of the application date. I do think it should be when all of our families have started. So it shouldn't be immediately August when we haven't had our new families come in and school hasn't started. So somewhere in between the starting of school and either by the holiday or right after, I'm okay with that as well. I just wanted to put that in there.
Sarah?
Hi there. Echoing Nick's points, thank you for bringing all that up. I agree with both of you, and I agree with your points too, Principal Gibson. I'm wondering, I'm just looking at the calendar here. Like, for example, even if we posted and opened it up on Friday, that would give us sufficient time, about a month. And let's say even if we close the application period on like Friday, September 9th, for example, that would give us sufficient time, about a week and a half, to review the applications and then potentially make decisions at that September 21st meeting. I don't know what the rest of you think about that as a possibility.
Lori?
Yep. I'm just gonna go with the team here, but I think that I would like to say I want to review applicants and vote at the September meeting. School starts August 22nd. I think that gives us plenty of time for people to learn about school and apply. And that, again, what Nick said, I've served on LSCs where we have had applications and we've turned them all down. that is our prerogative as a vote. I do feel confident that we have a strong LSC and that we're going to attract really great parents. So and community reps. So I'm really excited to have a full LSC for the reason of we have a lot of work to do, a lot, and also it is really stressful. Again, I have to leave soon. Reaching quorum. So to be the most effective LSC, we need to get started as soon as possible. So I say that we post it, give everybody time, welcome when people come to school, and encourage new parents if they're interested, but that we vote in September to possibly fill those vacancies so that by October we have a full and complete LSC if all the applicants work out well.
Robert?
Just plus one that, right? So I would pitch, agree, September is when we sort of make that decision. And Sarah, the timeline you pitched made sense to me, just in terms of open, close, those sorts of things. I think the earlier it is, the more folks that we're going to be able to grab, even if folks may not be applying now, but it doesn't cause any harm. It only sort of helps us. So I'd pitch earliest open as possible. September is that target. And sort of the interim benchmarks that you pitched, Sarah, seem reasonable to me.
Mr. Hall?
So I know we've talked about, applications, reviewing applications. What are we envisioning as the actual application? I know in the past, when we've had to fill vacancies, maybe I'm trying to remember, probably 3 years ago at this point, we had a few vacancies, and I know what we did was kind of had candidates submit that same statement, the optional statement that you would usually submit if you were in the election, and then we asked them, we gave them the opportunity to come to a specific LSC meeting. So it sounds like maybe September for us, and just speak. And then we just went into closed session and talked about the candidate statements and the candidate speeches, and then made our decision there. So I'm saying even like, I don't even know if we need a week to look at applications. I think we're pretty good with the timeline of if we post it now, school starts on the 22nd of August. I'm sure with one of the back to school blasts, we can just keep, sharing that with all family members and students, and then see what we get. But I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible so we can get these positions filled.
Ms. Hallward?
Yeah, I was just going to echo what everybody else said about the timing and doing it sooner rather than later. And didn't know if we could also just put it on social media, as soon as this week, and then promote it in the blast, like we said. And then I know this is like optional, so it's like less of a need, so to speak, as opposed to the adult reps. But for the student rep, I was thinking we might have to do something a little bit more attractive than that current one pager, just to get like a 12-year-old's attention. No disrespect to whoever created it, because it's just very informative. And I don't know if that's the 7th and 8th grade teachers or like me or Mr. Hall, but like, just because we haven't had a student rep, I don't think, in the past, or it's been a while at least since I've been around. Sorry, this is my mom, me most of the time. I'm trying to feed 2 children. Regardless, I can help with that if we need to like target middle school a little bit more in a way that would get their attention.
Thank you, Ms. Hallward. Principal Gibson?
I was just sharing, that's why I was suggesting that the application process should open around August 22nd to give our new families either August 22nd or that following week, so we can give all families a fair shot. If we're talking about equity, opening up now would not be fair to our new families because we're going to be doing enrollment that week. So I think it should open up the week that school starts. If the application is going to open, it should open and coincide with that. And Nick just shared he doesn't think it'll take a week to review. We can have it open to September 20th or whatever date we look at, 4 or 5 days to review the application and invite the person to the 21st. We do have to follow the CPS protocol. So they have to bring in, it's not just a statement, they have to follow the LSC guidelines of bringing in their IDs, as well as for the student rep, it is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And I would be wanting to go into the classroom and talk to the students as well.
Mr. Hall?
So unless we like, we're not limiting the number of candidates, right? Who can apply. Okay, so for me, as long as it closes together, I don't think there's an issue. I guess I'm confused by the issue of equity. No matter when it opens, when someone sees it, they have the time to, it's not like we're limiting it to the first, 10 applicants we get. So if you see it first, then you're in the running. So as long as it closes at the same time, I don't see an equity concern.
So given that we all agree on that the timeline should be earlier, I would propose that the applications open that first day of school to make it formal. And then since we don't have to follow the same amount of days that it has to be open as the regular election, they do have to fill in, as Principal Gibson said, all the required paperwork. That would be the same, but we don't have to follow like the deadlines in terms of 30 days, 45 days, etc. I would propose that then we would close the applications, open them August 22nd, and then maybe close them the week after the September 9th. The reason I'm proposing this is because I would also like to propose, or for us to discuss, if we would like to have a special meeting just for the forum and for us to discuss, so those new members could be formally in our September 21st meeting to start. That's an option we could have. Obviously open for discussion. The reason I would love to have our council complete, if that's the case, because again, we're all gonna take a look, and we don't have to have the complete council, as you mentioned, Mr. Hall, but maybe give the opportunity for them to start on that September 21st meeting. If not, it could go as proposed. We close it a week before the September 21st meeting, and on that meeting, we hold a candidate forum. If anyone wants to talk at the forum, and then we could all vote for the new members in the closed session. Principal Gibson?
I just want to share in the past what we've done is invite them to a LSC meeting. So not just the council, but the community hears why they want to be a rep as well. So I think it's important to have them come to that September 21st meeting. Again, like when they fill the position, we want to make sure quality candidates fill the position. So I think they should, instead of moving it up from, instead of waiting till October, we're moving it up to the 21st for them to attend that meeting.
Mr. Hall?
So with the idea but we would want to vote on them also at that same meeting, right, Ileana? Is that what you were thinking? Or would we have
on the special meeting, which was on the special meeting before the September 21st one? Like I have two in my mind. I have two options. Close it September 9th. We evaluate. They come to a special meeting, which would be the candidate forum, special candidate forum. Everyone's invited to that special meeting. Parents, everyone. And then we hear them out. We vote on it. And then they would start on that September 21st meeting officially as a member of the LSC.
So
if not, we do the September 21st everything.
And I believe as soon as we voted, they joined the council. So one option would be, it would be kind of weird, would be to do like if we don't want to do a special meeting, we would start the September 21st meeting. Once we've approved the agenda and the minutes, we would do the candidate forum, closed session, vote, and then they would join the meeting, the council for the rest of the, but that might be a little odd to do a closed session at the beginning of the meeting, but that is an option, or I'm fine with a special meeting too.
Nick, isn't that what happened the last time that Tubman had to do that when Alex was elected?
Yep.
You did it, the meeting started, they gave I think it's like a 2-minute statement, you all, I was not on the board at that time. They went into closed session. We all came back in because this was back when we were in person. We all came back, he voted, and then he stepped in. And
That is
seemed to work-
correct.
that seemed to work pretty seamlessly. It seemed, and then that was from me, who was just a parent at that time and not an LSC member. That seemed very comfortable for me as a participant.
Sarah?
Yeah, I think to Nick's point, that that makes sense to me. And I think just to minimize the amount of special meetings that we're scheduling, especially if we're looking at it at an equitable lens and making sure that people have access and can participate as fully as possible, I think just trying to stick to our regular meeting schedule as much as possible and getting as much of that done and really being efficient and maximizing that time and making sure that, that the September meetings already posted on our website so people can plan ahead for that, and just to have more community participation at that meeting as we select, I think would really be appreciated by everyone.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I gave both scenarios because I've been part of both scenarios at another school. So I know like both have worked. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but having listened to what you guys are saying, I agree, especially Sarah, what you're mentioning about limiting like extra meetings. And since it's posted, we obviously want everyone to join us. The more participation we get, that's what we want. We want people to want to come to the LSC meetings. So then the proposal will be to open it up August 22nd. And then when do you think would be the amount of time needed to revise all the documents and then for it to be in the candidate forum on that September 21st meeting? So, because now it wouldn't have to be that September 9th. I think it could be farther, like September. I don't know. I don't have the calendar in front of me. So I don't know, 16?
Yeah, that's actually the date I had in mind, and then it was just in my head. I just assumed that you telepathically got that date pulled out of my brain. But yeah, the 16th I think sounds good, because then I just want to be mindful of people's work schedules and the teachers too, if they're bringing work home. Is that that way everyone has that weekend to kind of look through things, and that they feel like they've done the prep work ahead of that meeting, and then we can go in kind of geared up and familiarized with the candidates before the forum starts. So like 5 days ahead of the meeting, I think. Clicks the 16th.
So perfect. So I will present the motions for us to vote on deciding on this timeline. The motion would be to advertise the open position starting tomorrow. We will discuss the advertisement in a few seconds. Advertise the position starting tomorrow. Open up open them up on August 22nd for the applications, with September 16th as the closing date. And then the candidate forum and voting of the elected members, if any, would be on that September 21st meeting. So that would be my motion.
I second the motion.
So now we vote. Principal Gibson?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Ms. Brooks?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Ms. Holbert?
Aye.
And yes, for me too. So we have established the timeline. Principal Gibson also sent us the text of what the advertisement would be. We discussed a little bit. Ms. Holbert mentioned that the wording was geared more towards like parent reps, community rep, and that we should do something else for the student reps, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Principal Gibson already said that she would go in the classrooms to advertise that this position is open, that we want a student here. And that's an awesome perspective to have. So, and certainly we could do another, like, besides what Ms. Principal Gibson will do, we could do another like advertisement, like written statement for that audience. did you all have the opportunity to read what Principal Gibson sent? Any discussion about what is stated there? Robert?
I'll say an obvious thing. I think maybe it's like the call to action of like, here's how you apply, right? So like, here's a survey link, or especially if we're going to, wherever we put these, I've had really good success with QR codes that take me directly somewhere, so I can just scan it with my phone and then directly take me to the survey to complete on my phone. So I would just pitch very clearly, this is how you can apply, QR code, whatever, just to make it really easy. And that is more from the parent and community member lens. Obviously, different track for kiddos, but just want to make sure that that's amended in that particular way. And I'm sure y'all were already thinking about that.
Yeah, now that we have voted and approved the timeline, that would be modified in the sense that it would include all these dates. So they know that applications will open August 22nd, they will be closed September 16th, and etc. So it would be modified in terms of adding this information that's approved today by the council. Principal Gibson?
That's exactly what I was going to say. And then around the week before the 22nd, that's when we can add the QR, or no, it should be the day it's going to open. That day, the QR code or some link to the application will be added.
Exactly. So Principal Gibson and I will work on adding that, the dates, but I would like for us to vote on approving that it will be posted in school pages, social media that we have starting tomorrow. The only addition to that text, that the wording that you all received, would be adding these dates that we voted on. Obviously, you will receive the final document, but maybe we can't, like, I want it to be posted as soon as possible. It should be posted as soon as possible so people start talking and thinking about it before school starts. So I would like for us to vote on that. We all agree that we start posting the announcement tomorrow on school page, social media pages. That would be my motion. And
I'll second.
I second.
thank you, Lori. So now we vote. Principal Gibson?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Ms. Brooks?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Ms. Holbert?
Aye.
Okay, so motion is passed. The advertisement of the vacancies available at the LSC will be published starting tomorrow, with the addition of the dates we have established as the timeline to filling those vacancies. Our next point would be public participation. Mr. Hall, Robert was
Yes.
voted or elected as our new Sergeant of Arms. I know that in the previous LSC, that position was the one that read the instructions or the comment about the public participation. But given that it's his first day, I would like for you to help him with that. And Robert will send you the text, which is in the agenda, what we say before the public participation portion of the meeting.
Yeah,
Cool.
no problem at all.
Thank you, Mr. Hall.
Okay. So we have one sign up today. So I will go ahead and read from the agenda. Members of the public are welcome to make comments and ask questions, but must sign in to participate. The public is called upon to speak in the order they sign in. The public is kindly requested to limit their comments and questions to 3 minutes. Based on the comments or questions, the principal may address some concerns directly, and if necessary, create an action step for the LSC to follow up with the involved parties at a future date. While the LSC will do its best to address any comments or questions, when necessary, more time may be needed to adequately address a particular concern. So our public participant today is Dana. Go ahead, Dana.
I know everybody's surprised. It's me. Um, I just wanted Sarah. Yes, there's Sarah. Had earlier asked about the Wilson certified stuff that was going on in the building, and I just wanted to clarify really quick because I know Wilson's come up a lot. But I think Principal Gibson, you're talking about the 3-day course, correct? I just want to make sure that we're clear that the teachers that took it have attended what's called the Wilson Reading System Introductory Course. And that's not actually the same as being Wilson Reading System certified. There's a path to certification from there, but it's a year-long certification. And I believe the district is also certifying teachers as well, or signing them up and paying for certification as well. But at this moment, it sounds like the 3 teachers have just so far done the 3-day course, which is great. It's a great introduction, and absolutely they can start down the path of utilizing WRS as an intervention from there. And then to your point about what the longer term plan is and the rollout, I think the district's plan is to have WRS as the tier 3 intervention. But in terms of tier 1 and tier 2 curriculum or tier 2 intervention, I know our PPLC at the end of the year left it that they will be doing a deep dive into literacy this year, and we'll be exploring the science of reading along with the curriculums to make sure that we're building on our foundational literacy. I didn't see it on the what's next slide in Principal Gibson's report, so hoping that's still the plan, but that was how it was left at the end of the year last year. So just wanted to kind of clarify around the WRS. And then just regarding a student on the LSC, I don't, and Mr. Hall would probably know this best because I think you've been on the LSC the longest, but have we ever had a student on the LSC before? I always thought it was more a high school thing. And just wondering, if there's been discussion around that. I know last year, student voice was kind of something that Principal Gibson tried to get up and running, which I think is great, and would love to see student voice come back. But just from my perspective, if I'm being really honest, some of these meetings can get long, and at times can be a little bit stressful. And just wondering how having a student at the meetings would, how we would protect the student around some of that, as well as, is it just one student or would it be good to have a buddy? It just feels like a lot of pressure for just one student. So just kind of wondering around, if there have been discussions about having a student rep. Is it common in elementary school LSCs? I haven't seen it before at either of my schools. So just, just kind of wondering about that. So, and then just last, the enrollment numbers seem a little bit on the low side. Just kind of wondering if there's any numbers around people that have accepted the spots, maybe haven't come registered yet. Like, do we have an anticipation of how much growth we might see before first day? Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dana. Principal Gibson, did you want me to talk about the LSE student position?
No, I'm just waiting for all the public comments.
Oh, that was it. Sorry, that was it. Dana is the only one who signed up.
Oh.
So public participation is over.
Okay. So Dana, having a student rep is new this year. There's only one student rep. You had a couple questions, so I tried to take notes. Yes, our teachers took the 3-day training. The 1-year training was offered. We didn't have staff in the building, but we will be trying to see if anyone's interested in the year-long certification. The reason you didn't see that on the what's coming next is we currently don't have a PPLC. So that is elected within the first 30 days of school starting. So we will have new members, and I want them, they will share out at our upcoming meetings. As far as enrollment, so the numbers are very much close to what's going on in the district with our numbers. Now, as of last week, we did open up our second round of, I can keep going to the wait list and letting people in as we enroll people. And we opened up 54 slots. So that's how many slots we opened up. I have to check to see how many people accepted. And then our clerk will be back for registration the week of August 10th. And we're trying to start registering people the 11th. The district does know and has shared that a lot of people come register the week school starts. So they are offering all schools like additional support from members of the network and the ONS staff. So there will be others coming out to help us with the registration. So we're going to continue to promote. I also didn't share, I attended a back to school bash. I don't know if Charlotte is still on here, but Charlotte made some flyers where I passed down and tried to recruit and tell people about our wonderful school because we had that one pager thanks to our communications committee. So those are just some tidbits I wanted to share.
Um, Dana, I wanted to add a little bit about this, your concern about the student. Mr. Hall, I know you have more information about this, but one of the LSC trainings I attended, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. As Principal Gibson said, the student rep is a new thing. We have to have a student rep. Um, you might be surprised that pre-K to 8th grade students can vote. The admin will get or has or will get specific information on how to conduct the polls on these grade levels. Imagine kindergartners, first graders, but they are allowed, and they have the right to vote pre-K to 8th grade for that student rep at the LSC. So yeah, it's a new thing. They're promoting it because of that student voice, and I know Mr. Hall might have more insight about this.
So Eliana, just a quick question about the voting. Students would vote if the normal election process was going on, right? But with all these vacancies, it's just on us. Usually the LSC fills the vacancies if they haven't been elected.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm talking about the role of the student in the LSC.
Mm-hmm.
For the election normal of a student, the pre-K to 8th grade are allowed to vote. There are specific instructions on how to vote that the admin will get, or how to do those polls. But yeah, obviously they can't, there's some things that students, same as with what happens with the principal, some areas that students can't vote. And I can provide more info about that specific because I don't have it in the top of my mind, but it's the same situation as some things that principals can't vote that are discussed in the LSC. Some things students can't vote, or that student rep wouldn't be able to vote.
Yeah, I'll add on to that, Eliana. It's the student representative does not vote on principal selection, principal evaluation, principal contract renewal. So those kind of topics in closed session. But any other topic, I believe anything in open session, the student would vote on, yes. So they pretty much took what has been the high school model for many years and just brought it down to the middle school level, and this is the first year they are trying it out.
So, Mr. Hall, you said that Dana was the only public comment for tonight. Okay, I don't know
Correct,
if Principal Gibson, you want to address anything else about the comments, or?
No, I thanked Dana for her public participation, and thank you and Nicholas for adding in.
Okay, so our next discussion would be action items and next steps. In the action items we had from the previous meeting, we talked about the posting and the revising of the LSC bylaws. That obviously has not happened for this meeting, but now that there's an official share of the LSC, I will be sending out the bylaws for an open discussion for all of you to read and make comments about anything you would like to rephrase, include, etc., so we can then discuss it on our next meeting. Sarah?
Hi, I just wanted to state for the recording here, in consideration of Dana's concerns regarding protecting the time and the energy investment of the student rep that we will eventually bring on board. Is that something, and Principal Gibson and Mr. Hall, you might have more information on this, but is this something that we could build into our bylaws around, the protocols? I mean, aside from what LSC itself, the LC committee itself puts forth, but is there anything that we can build in regarding, or maybe it would just be set within our meeting norms? I don't know under which category that would fall under if we're looking at how we can be more efficient and also be more protective around that student's time and energy around maybe some of the more pressing, stressful topics that we will have to discuss over the next couple of years. Do you know any thoughts about that or any guidance?
Yes, Sarah, I can give guidance to that. When I went through the LSC training and spoke to LSC relations, they shared meeting norms. And one of the things I shared it with each of you at our organizational meeting, it was the meeting norms, and it was start on time, end on time. So we can have a set start time and end on time, not just to protect the students, but to protect all of us who are working and have families, a start on time, end on time, keep to agenda topics. And also, just to go back to what Dana said, like what's the protection for the student? We do have a sergeant at arms, so if we go off topic, he can help us stay on topic as well as our chairperson.
And adding a little bit
Thank
to
you.
that, Sarah, um, I know that I could possibly reach out to Ms. Ford and Mrs. Stye of LSC Relations, and maybe they can give us additional guidance or tips on how they've done this or how they envision this to be done, so we could all have it, especially Robert as the Sergeant of Arms. Yes, Mr. All?
Yeah, Sarah, I would add on to what Principal Gibson said. I think that would fall more under norms and rules of conduct than the actual bylaws, because a lot of the bylaws is dictated by LSE department, and then we can modify things with district legal approval. But that can be quite a process. So yeah, I would go with norms and rules and reg.
Ms. Halbert?
Yeah, that comment about the norms and rules and regs made me think about the public participation timing, which has come up a lot. And I didn't know, forgive me if I missed like us talking about that in the past, or like if there was an opportunity to re-vote on that or switch when it is in the agenda. Just wanted to flag it again because I know sometimes parents have to wait 90 plus minutes to say something.
Principal Gibson?
I'm sorry, that's currently not on the agenda for us to talk about tonight. And just for the sake of time, can we have Sarah please read the action items?
Okay, so the action items from this meeting, Principal Gibson will cascade information regarding hiring protocol, the committee makeup, and more details on the candidate processes to the rest of the LSC. And then based on what comes of that, we can also share that with the greater community. Is there any, I don't know if we discussed an ETA for that?
Principal Gibson?
I just want to say there was an agreement. Lori asked that we share it with the rest of the community. I'm okay with sharing it with the LSC, but I think I should
Okay.
get people's permission before I share their name to the general public.
Okay, sure. So that will just be within the LSC. Agreed? Okay. Next is Principal Gibson will provide continued updates on enrollment and homeroom distribution as we get closer to the beginning of the school year, as well as their impact on our school funding. That's piggybacking off of some of the questions that Robert had. Principal Gibson will also provide additional updates on the outcomes of the family outreach and partnerships with those 27 families, just based on what does come of that and what she's able to share. And then lastly, LSC will begin advertising for the committee vacancies beginning tomorrow, August 4th, with the revised timeline that we talked about. With applications opening, just for clarity on the record, 8/22 ending 9/16, and with a candidate forum and a potential closed meeting vote to induct those members on 9/21 at our regular scheduled meeting.
I
Did I
would
miss
add,
anything?
I would add to the action steps that I would be sending all of you the norms and the bylaws, so we discuss if anyone wants to bring up something. And I will also reach out to Ms. Ford and Mrs. Ty about if they have any extra guidance about the student rep position that we're gonna get.
Okay, so for the record, to add, Ileana will send out the norms and bylaws to the rest of the LSC. Once those bylaws have been approved, I think we've discussed that they will be posted on our website in the future. And Ileana will reach out to LSC Relations for guidance regarding student reps.
So having established the action steps and the next steps and action items, we established that our next meeting date is September 21st. It will be virtual at 6 p.m. Reiterating that if we would have a potential closed meeting and a potential vote on those new members if the vacancies are indeed going to be filled. With nothing else to be discussed today. Oh, Mr. Hall, sorry. Yeah, Mr. Hall.
I'm sorry, Eliana, I just had a couple quick OMA things as your OMA rep on the LSC. Were minutes approved today? Did we approve the minutes from the organizational meeting?
We did
No?
not
Okay.
because not everyone received them before this. So they will be sent
Okay.
out again and then we will approve.
So that is just one thing we need to address. The last council, we got a little bit lax with approval of minutes. I believe the last minutes we have are from early May,
Okay.
which is getting us out of compliance with OMA. The approval timeline is 30 days or 2 meetings. And obviously we have the recording of every meeting. Unfortunately, that is not a substitute to the minutes. As per OMA, we have to also do the minutes. So I was thinking I can reach out to Cindy for everything from last year, just to kind of see what we can do to get those approved, as soon as possible. We also have to take a vote in the next couple of meetings to maintain our closed session minutes as closed. And that is something that's supposed to happen every 6 months, and we haven't done that. So just those minutes, just reviewing and approving prior minutes. And then also we need to take a vote in the near future on maintaining our closed session minutes closed. I think that was it. I will be sending out information to all council members on OMA training. That is a training everyone is supposed to take in addition to the LSC training. You have 6 months to take the LSC training. I think, Ileana, you were just mentioning some of it already. And you have 3 months to do the OMA training. It's not a very long one. It looks like a lot, but you can do it pretty fast. It's all online. I think that was that. And final thing, I noticed on the LSC page of our website, there is no November meeting. I didn't know if that was on purpose or an oversight, so it doesn't list a November meeting. It goes from October 12th to December 7th.
When we discussed and Principal Gibson presented the timeline of the proposed meetings because of the holiday that we get, there's now 1 whole week. I believe that was the reason why the November meeting would move to the December one, but if Principal Gibson wants to.
Okay. No, I just wanted to make sure it was an oversight because I missed the last meeting. Thank you.
Principal Gibson?
Yes, I just had my hand raised. We can send out the minute meetings for the July meeting and vote on that. This is a new council. Everyone didn't attend a former meeting to approve those minutes. I will be checking with Ms. Ford if this council far as I know, we should be approving meetings from the time you took council, which is July 1st. So we do need at the next meeting, but I am glad Nick brought that up, that going forward, we need to make sure we keep in the minutes of the meeting and that it's shared with everyone. That's why we had asked the question, was it shared this time? We'll try to make sure it's shared out prior to the meeting so everyone has a chance to review going forward.
Sorry, Eliana, I had one more thing. The LSC email, who currently has access to that? Principal Gibson, is that you? Because I know Tina was in charge, so I don't, that
So
should
I
be
can,
Okay, sorry, go
just for
ahead.
the sake of time, Nick, that's not on our agenda to talk about today. It has been shared. I can send a quick email, but just to answer your question right now, me and Ileana have access, and we can discuss who else will have access, possibly a vice chair at a later time, but that's not on our agenda today.
Yeah, just to clarify, yeah, Principal Gibson sent me the information today about the account, and we will be working to get other people to have access. Because we want everyone to have access.
Okay,
Sarah?
yeah, I just wanted confirmation that you had access
Yeah.
or Principal Gibson, because that
Yeah.
has been an issue in the past. And just to clarify, as for OMA, things that are not on the agenda can still be discussed, just not
Not
voted on.
voted.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Sarah?
Hi, I just wanted to state for the record, just adding the action items, that minutes will be reviewed and approved at the next meeting for July and August, and we'll continue to discuss the maintenance of closed session minutes. And then Principal Gibson will clarify email access to the committee internally. So just wanted to state that for the record.
So I didn't share that I would share it. I said that we could discuss who has access to it after this meeting, but currently me and Ileana have it.
Oh, that's what I meant. Sorry, that you would clarify and confirm who has access.
So
Thank you.
So if there are not any other matters to discuss, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? Principal Gibson,
I motion to adjourn this meeting of the local school council.
I second.
let's vote. Miss Principal Gibson,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Mr. Hall,
Aye.
Miss Brooks,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Miss Holbert.
Aye.
Lori excused herself, and it's a yes for me. So the meeting is adjourned at 7:44 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
We will get better. I'll get better every time. I'll try. Thank you for all your help. Thank you, Robert.